Imagine walking into the SHOT Show. With every step you hear another story about switching guns. One person is bragging, "I ditched my old Glock." Another is talking about a micro compact that stopped their hand from hurting after a training session. What is it about 2025 that's making cops, competitive shooters, and concealed carriers seriously consider switching? Let's open each box, try each pistol, and uncover the real reasons behind this wave of switching. You'll be surprised it's more than just a pretty upgrade. Number 9. Canik Mete MC9 Prime. Quick summary. First, details after. The MC9 Prime is not just a pretty model sold on marketing. It's a practical package for people who want to carry concealed, but still want modern features. And that's why it's getting a lot of attention in 2025. When you pick this one up, the first thing you notice is Canik has optimized it for real use. The slide has an integrated expansion chamber, dot compensator, and a ported barrel that noticeably reduces muzzle rise. The slide has several lightning cuts to lower inertia. The grip has full wrap stippling that holds tight even when your hands are wet. On top of that, the factory ships it with aimed night vision tritium sights and a frame already cut to accept a micro red dot sight. So basically, you do not have to send the gun to a shop to fit an optic. You just mount it and shoot. Key specs: 9mm ammunition, capacity 17+1, barrel length approximately 3.64 inches, overall length approximately 6.73 inches, thickness about 1.16 inches, and weight around 1.46 pounds. That's the mix between small enough to hide and big enough to shoot well. On the handling side, the MC9 Prime gives faster follow-ups than a typical micro compact thanks to the integrated compensator. Many reviewers and test sites report it feeds a wide range of 9mm ammunition reliably and runs smoothly through long strings of fire, which makes users feel confident carrying it as an everyday carry. On price, Canik positions the MC9 Prime very reasonably. The manufacturer's suggested retail price for most configurations is around $649.99 United States dollars for the standard package and about $849.99 United States dollars for the optics bundle. Retail can be a little lower depending on market and dealer. So, you're getting features that many competitors sell separately and which push the price up. Standout advantages are clear: recoil mitigation in a compact footprint, a 17-round capacity that's generous for carry, optics ready out of the box with good sights, and an accessory package, extra magazine, back straps, holster, hard case, that makes it essentially ready to run, which matches the buying mindset of a lot of people in 2025. They do not want to buy something and then pay to modify it. The downsides are practical and understandable. A grip size to hold 17 rounds can be a bit long for small hands, reducing concealment a little compared with a thin single-stack micro. Some perfectionist shooters will still want to tweak the trigger to their personal taste. And compared with an ecosystem like Glock's, aftermarket parts and holsters for Canik, while much improved, are not yet as ubiquitous, so anyone who constantly swaps parts might hit a few limits. Why is it hot in 2025? Because the trend has shifted from "you must trade one thing for another" to "people want both." Concealed carriers want more rounds, trainers want more control, and buyers do not want to pay to fix stuff after purchase. MC9 Prime answers that tension. Compensator plus 17 rounds plus optics ready in an affordable package. That's the solution a lot of people are looking for. If you're doing a video, you could open the MC9 Prime segment with "want 17 rounds, a compensator, and a red dot without breaking the bank." The MC9 Prime does all three. Here's why. Number 8. Smith & Wesson M&P M2.0 Compact. Let's be blunt. If you want a pistol that isn't flashy but does everything you need, the M&P M2.0 Compact is one of the quiet but very practical choices in 2025. If I were on camera, here's how I describe it. The M&P M2.0 Compact is the essence of practical refinement. It takes the already proven M&P platform and fine-tunes little details to fit the era of red dots and high-performance carry. You can pick a version with either a 3.6-inch barrel or a 4-inch barrel. Standard capacity is 15+1, polymer frame with a stainless steel core, and a slide that's already cut for optics. Smith & Wesson also gave the M2.0 a new flat-face trigger with a clear reset and a stippling and backstrap system you can swap out to fit different hand sizes. All of that makes this gun shoot faster, more accurately, and track back on target quicker than the older compact models. The hard numbers aren't vague. Weight runs about 25 to 26 ounces depending on version. Overall length about 6.8 to 7.25 inches depending on the barrel, and thickness right around 1.16 inches. Those measurements mean the M2.0 compact is small enough to conceal, but still feels like a full size when shooting. What makes it popular in 2025 boils down to two things. First, the market has moved to red dots as the centerpiece for carry and defense, and the M&P is already optic cut in many SKUs. Second, people are tired of compacts with mushy triggers and weak resets. The M2.0 solves that with a tuned trigger that feels crisp right out of the box. No need to buy a replacement. These small but meaningful upgrades make both law enforcement and civilian shooters pay attention, because they don't have to modify it before putting it into daily use. On the plus side, the M&P M2.0 compact gives you a complete package in a practical sense. Optics ready from the factory, grip with 4 backstraps to adjust fit, flat face trigger with a sharp reset, and a Picatinny rail for lights or lasers if needed. For trainers or officers, it's a low-hassle tool, small enough for daily use, but big enough to handle long training sessions without killing your wrists. Price is another strength. Smith & Wesson typically sets the manufacturer's suggested retail price for compact variants around $600 to $700 United States dollars, and in stores, you'll see retail anywhere from about $550 to close to $800 United States dollars depending on the version. Optic cut, Cerakote, Performance Center, or Carry Comp models. So in terms of value, it's right in the highly competitive range against Glock, SIG, or Walther. You're paying for built-in performance, not post-purchase fixes. Of course, no gun is perfect. The M2.0 compact is not the top choice for people chasing absolute concealment. At close to 26 ounces and with a grip long enough for 15 rounds, some who prioritize slim and ultralight will still prefer a single-stack micro. Also, while the trigger is much better, certain shooters who are used to very light, custom triggers may still want to swap it out. And high-end Performance Center, or Carry Comp versions, can cost a good bit more, so you'll need to balance budget and features. Finally, the aftermarket parts and holster ecosystem isn't as massive as Glock's, so if you're the type who loves constant swapping, you may hit a few limits compared with a Glock 19 or 17. The bottom line on why it's hot in 2025, buyers don't want to purchase a pistol, then spend more fixing it. They want something already ready for a red dot with a solid trigger and comfortable ergonomics. And the M&P M2.0 compact checks those boxes at a fair price. In a time when many people are moving from tiny single stacks to compacts for more capacity without ruining the shooting experience, the M2.0 fills that gap really well. Easy to carry, no extra hassle to mount optics, no trigger replacement needed, and it feels like it was built to shoot. Not just to look nice, independent reviews keep praising it for stability, grip texture, and accuracy right out of the box. That's why shops and reviewers still put it in the top tier of compacts worth considering if you want something reliable without tinkering. If you're introducing the M&P M2.0 compact in a video, a good line could be, want a compact that's already optic ready, has a great trigger out of the box, and won't cost you extra to fix. This is the one to try. The M&P M2.0 compact. And to close that section, recap the core specs for the audience. 9mm ammunition, 15+1 magazine, barrel length 3.6 or 4 inches depending on the SKU, weight about 25 to 26 ounces, and manufacturer's suggested retail price typically in the $600 to $700 United States dollar range for most optic-ready versions. Higher if you go with Performance Center or Carry Comp models. This pistol wasn't built to be pretty, it was built to perform. And in 2025, when most people are buying to use, not just to show off, the M&P M2.0 Compact is a smart choice for a whole range of users. Number 7. Ruger RXM. To be straight up, the RXM is the kind of pistol that makes you stop and take a closer look, because it delivers a big ambition without killing your wallet. Real modularity, fair pricing, and wide ecosystem compatibility. When you pick up the RXM, the first thing you notice is the Magpul enhanced handgun grip. It's not there just for looks. It actually locks into your hand in a way that feels natural, like you pick it up and instantly trust it. The undercut at the trigger guard and the high beaver tail let you get a tight grip, which helps manage recoil and keeps your sight steadier during strings of fire. Inside, Ruger has placed a fire control insert, each with its own serial number. Basically, the heart of the gun can be pulled out and dropped into different grip modules. That turns the RXM from just a pistol into a platform that can grow with the user. With a hardened steel slide, a barrel around 4 inches on many SKUs, and an actual weight of about 23.2 ounces, the RXM sits right in the sweet spot between carry and full size, heavy enough to feel stable, light enough to wear daily if you've got a good holster. Details like an optics-ready slide, tritium front sight, and 2 included Magpul GL9 magazines, standard 15 rounds, show Ruger didn't cut corners on the basics. You're getting a red dot ready setup right out of the box. Why does the RXM stand out in 2025? Because the market is full of Glock-like pistols with similar abilities, but very few bring true modularity down to everyday buyers at an affordable price. Ruger set the manufacturer's suggested retail price around $499 United States dollars for standard versions, meaning a lot of shooters can step into a future-proof platform without paying double or triple for more expensive modular systems. Even better, it plays nice with many Glock Gen 3 parts, magazines, slide plates, some triggers and slide components, which is huge for anyone with a drawer full of parts already. You don't have to ditch your old gear. You can keep using it or upgrade gradually as your budget allows. That's why reviewers and shops keep saying the RXM draws a line in the sand for a new direction, modular, compatible, and cheaper than the competition. The advantages are obvious: a modular platform with a removable fire control insert, a Magpul enhanced handgun grip with top-tier ergonomics, optics ready from the factory, a very competitive manufacturer's suggested retail price, and bundled Magpul magazines that give you quality accessories right out of the box. At the range, many shooters say the stock trigger feels more refined than earlier Glock clones, and the RXM delivers a smooth shooting experience with little of the annoying shake. But no, it's not a magic bullet. Some aftermarket parts aren't as widespread yet compared with the global Glock ecosystem. So if you're constantly swapping, you might run into limits. Not every Glock aftermarket part drops in perfectly. You'll need to pick carefully. And because the Magpul grip is on the thick side, people with very small hands might find it best to handle one before buying. Ruger also admits compatibility is mostly with Gen 3 parts, so double check before mixing in third-party components. Bottom line, the RXM is a pistol that represents the best time to switch moment in 2025. It lets you start with a base gun that can evolve with you, without locking you forever into one grip style or an expensive proprietary system. If you want something to carry daily, but that also has room to grow, or if you already have Glock Gen 3 gear you'd like to keep using, the RXM is worth a serious look. In a video, you could kick off the RXM section with, want a platform that grows with you, costs less, and doesn't make you throw away all your old parts? Meet the RXM. Number 6. Staccato P4. If the previous entry was the do-it-all type, now I'll be blunt about the gun many professionals actually trust, the Staccato P4. Don't get it twisted, the P4 is not an influencer-friendly hype piece meant to trend on social media. It's the result of stuffing competition-level technologies into a frame optimized for real-world service. And that's exactly why a lot of law enforcement units, trainers, and serious competitors were rushing to try it in 2025. When you pick up a P4, you feel the difference immediately. A big, solid frame, metal construction, and race gun quality machining that reduce muzzle rise, while the basic controls remain mission-focused. No decorative extras to confuse armorers. On paper, the P4 usually sits on a 2011 double-stack platform with a barrel around 4.0 inches. Some variants have 4.5 inches. Standard magazines commonly hold 17 to 18 rounds. Many configurations use Mete magazines or Glock-compatible mags. And empty weight typically falls in the range of 30 to 34 ounces, depending on model and configuration. That all adds up to a handgun that's planted enough for precise shooting and follow-ups. What separates the P4 is more than numbers. Staccato keeps the smooth 2011 trigger feel while removing or tuning anything that gets in the way of service use. For example, implementing drop-safe systems, optimizing rail and optic mounts for direct mounting, and shaping the grip to stand up to hard daily use. In the 2025 context, the reason P4 blew up is the market split. One half of users want tiny carry tools, the other half, agencies and performance shooters, want a pistol that shoots like a race gun but can survive daily duty. The P4 lives at that intersection. It delivers race gun accuracy and follow-ups while offering duty-grade safeties and compatibility. That's why many officers report seeing immediate improvements on the qualification range. Tighter groups, faster follow-ups, and, importantly, more confidence running qualification courses. Price reflects its position. The P4 is not cheap. Manufacturers' suggested retail price for base models typically sits roughly between $2,400 and $2,800 United States dollars, depending on configuration. And custom or upgraded versions can push the price even higher. So the P4 tends to be bought by people who are ready to invest in performance rather than someone looking for an affordable experiment. The strengths are the alignment of performance and real-world durability, a factory platform that's accurate out of the box, the ability to use common magazines to keep operating costs reasonable, updated safety systems, and direct optic mounting. Exactly what pro shooters want without having to rebuild the gun. The downsides are obvious too. Size and weight make the P4 a poor choice for concealed carry. It's a range and duty tool rather than a deep concealment carry gun. Also, the higher purchase price and potentially higher costs for parts and service compared with common polymer pistols put it out of reach for some civilian buyers, and it typically requires a higher level of maintenance and gunsmithing knowledge to keep in top form. In short, the Staccato P4 got traction in 2025 because it answers a practical question. How do you get race gun performance in a platform that can still be used for duty without sacrificing safety or reliability? For shooters who prioritize performance and are willing to pay for it, the P4 is one of the least regrettable buys. Not because it's fashionable, but because it actually does the job. If you're making a video, open the P4 segment with something like, "Want race gun feel but need duty-grade reliability?" This pistol answers that. Number 5. Glock 19. Generation 5 with the modular optic system. If there's one pistol almost everyone in the carry community, law enforcement, and competition circles knows, it's the Glock 19, and the Generation 5 modular optic system version is the example of Glock staying relevant by listening to real needs instead of chasing flash. Straight up, the reason the G19 Generation 5 with the modular optic system is still hot in 2025 isn't because it's new, it's because it solves what people actually want. A compact size that's easy to conceal but still has usable power. A slide machine to accept optics from the factory, modular optic system, so you don't have to send it out to be cut. A marksman barrel that improves accuracy over older versions, plus Generation 5 changes like an ambidextrous slide stop, and an NDLC coating that boosts durability in harsh conditions. Basically, it's the old reliable updated for the modern user. On paper, it's clear. 9x19mm ammunition, standard capacity 15+1, barrel length about 4.02 inches, and unloaded weight roughly 21 to 23 ounces, depending on measurement. Those numbers make the G19 a perfect bridge between carry and range use. Small enough to hide, but big enough to handle well. In real life, the Marksman barrel in Generation 5 reset improvements tighten groups, and the modular optic system makes mounting a micro red dot as simple as swapping a cover plate. something many modern carriers now view as standard, not a custom modification. Price-wise, the G19 Generation 5 modular optic system usually lands in the mainstream range for a quality compact. Depending on dealer and package, things like included magazines, sights, or special finishes, you'll generally see retail prices around $600 to $800 United States dollars. Actual prices vary with market and supply. But that's a level most buyers are willing to pay for a proven platform. Strengths are obvious: an enormous aftermarket for accessories and holsters, time-tested reliability, factory optics readiness, and a does-everything feel that fits a wide range of uses, from daily carry to duty work to running some classes or matches. Weaknesses are practical too. Compared with some newer designs, the G19 might not feel perfectly personalized for every hand out of the box. So some people will swap triggers or grips to dial in the feel they want. And if your priority is absolute deep concealment, you'll still prefer thinner micro models at the cost of capacity and sometimes handling. Because it's so common, used market prices can fluctuate, and if you want extreme concealment, you'll have to accept trade-offs. Why it's still popular in 2025? Two factors come together: decades of refined practicality and the ability to adapt to the red dot era via the modular optics system. Modern buyers want something they can buy once and use right away, not something that requires paying a gunsmith to make it current. And the G19 Generations 5 with the modular optics system does exactly that. If you're putting this in a video, an on-camera opener could be not the newest gun, but the one you know will work. This is the Glock 19 Generation 5 with the modular optics system. And here's why it still sits in most holsters in 2025. Number 4, Glock 17. Generation 5. Let's be clear, if you need a full-size pistol you can put into service, take to the range day after day, and still trust to hand to a teammate at night, the Glock 17. Generation 5 has been that answer for decades, and it's still tuned to run strong in 2025. On paper, the G17 Generation 5 is a full-size 9mm with a standard capacity of 17+1. It's built with the Glock marksman barrel, about 4.49 inches long, which bumps up accuracy compared with older versions. The frame and slide were tweaked to drop the finger grooves, add an ambidextrous slide stop, and a flared magwell. Small updates that make the pistol more comfortable for a wide range of hands. When you hold it, you notice two things: trust and simplicity. The polymer frame is tough, the NDLC coating on the slide resists wear, and the safe action system design means the G17 almost never catches a sickness, even with heavy round counts. Routine cleaning is all it really needs. Empty weight with an unloaded magazine runs in the low to mid 22 to 25 ounce range depending on whether you have a modular optics system version or not. Heavy enough to soak up recoil and stay steady on rapid fire. Light enough that training all day doesn't beat you up. What a lot of shooters value about the G17 Generation 5 in 2025 is its adaptability. The modular optics system versions come optics ready straight from the factory, so you can drop on a micro red dot without a gunsmith. The marksman barrel helps tighten groups, and the aftermarket ecosystem for the G17 is basically endless. Holsters, magazine extensions, replacement parts, you name it. So in this red dot era, where optics are a standard, not an upgrade, the Glock 17 Generation 5 stands right at the intersection. Still simple, but optics ready. Why are people still choosing the G17 Generation 5 in 2025? Because some things you don't gamble on: real-world reliability, ease of maintenance, and a platform the aftermarket knows inside out. That saves time and money over the long haul. Law enforcement agencies still issue the G17 or variants for the same reasons. Trainers, competitive shooters, and civilians rely on its proven track record. Price falls right where you'd expect for a full size you can trust. Retail commonly ranges from the mid-hundreds up to about $600 to $800 United States dollars, depending on variant, modular optics system, magazine packages, finish, and so on. That buys you a platform that's already battle-tested, without the high price tag of specialized pistols. The upsides are obvious: reliability that's been proven, an ocean of aftermarket parts and holsters, easy upkeep, optics mounting built into modular optics system models, and that does everything balance that works for duty, training, or any situation where big capacity matters. The downsides are practical too. Compared with modern pistols designed for more personalized ergonomics, the G17 can feel basic in some hands. If you want maximum concealment, the full-size frame is a major compromise. And some shooters prefer a lighter trigger pull than the factory provides, so they'll mod it. In the end, in 2025, where more shooters are moving to optics, want more rounds, and demand field-proven reliability, the Glock 17. Generation 5 isn't trendy, it's sensible. It doesn't scream the latest tech, but it gives you a foundation you can trust every day. That's why so many people still keep the G17 high on their list when weighing performance, practicality, and budget. Number 3, Walther PDP, straight up. When the market shifted hard to red dot first in 2025 and people started demanding real ergonomics instead of marketing claims, the PDP popped up as a textbook example of a pistol that's ready out of the box. When you pick up a PDP, what hits you isn't one single feature, but the whole package. A natural grip angle, Walther's performance duty texture, stippling that gives deep purchase without being abrasive, and the super terrain slide serrations that make manipulating the slide fast and predictable even with wet hands or gloves. Walther's performance duty. Trigger feels like it has a defined break, a short reach, and a quick reset. That combo makes lots of shooters, especially those moving to red dot setups, feel like they can find the dot and squeeze without fighting the gun. Full-size models commonly come with an 18+1 capacity and barrel options like 4.0, 4.5, or 5.0 inches. The compact model usually runs 15+1 with a 4.0-inch barrel, and most of the lineup offers optics-ready configurations. In other words, the PDP was designed to work with red dots from day one, not as an afterthought. Those features aren't just buzzwords. Independent testing and reviews show the PDP shoots accurately, has a smooth recoil impulse, and tends to produce tighter groups than some competitors in its price tier, which is why a lot of shooters moved one from the range into their carry or duty rotation. On the everyday feel, the PDP is friendly to new shooters, but refined enough for experienced hands. The red dot-oriented ergonomics help you find the dot quickly on a fast draw, and the grip geometry supports a consistent hand position that makes rapid transitions feel natural. Small details that add up to this feels like it was made for my hand vibe when you run the gun. Retail pricing varies by SKU, but in the United States, you typically see full-size optics-ready PDPs in roughly the $600 to $700 United States dollar range at major retailers. Pro or competition-oriented variants can push the price higher, so you weigh the out-of-the-box ergonomics and trigger against whether you want to spend more for a tuned package. Big strengths are clear: excellent ergonomics, a great factory trigger, optics-ready design, and an overall handling package that keeps people coming back after a single range session. Downsides: if you want extreme concealment, a full-size PDP won't be as light or as slim as some ultra-compact options. And while the aftermarket for PDP parts and accessories is growing fast, it still isn't as massive as Glock's ecosystem, so tinkerers may have to hunt for specific items. Also, higher-end Pro or F-Series variants deliver fancier triggers and features, but they also cost more, so you decide whether the stock package already meets your needs. Why is the PDP such a hit in 2025? Because buyers stopped wanting to pay for upgrades just to get the basics right. People want a platform that's ergonomically tuned for red dots, has a good trigger from the factory, and feels natural in the hand. And the PDP delivers those things at a competitive price. In short, the PDP isn't just another option on paper. It's a gun you notice the difference with on first handling, and that's what made it one of the year's favorites. Number 2, Sig Sauer P365 X Macro, straight up. The P365 originally changed the game for concealed carriers. And the X Macro is the logical step for people who don't want to give anything up, meaning you can still conceal well, but get capacity and a shooting feel close to full size. If you're shooting a video, open this segment with something short. Want more rounds while staying slim? This is the P365 X Macro. Then explain. Basically, the X macro pushes capacity to 17+1 in a micro-compact frame that's under 1 inch thick. That's the key reason people were switching in 2025. Before, to get 17 rounds, you had to carry a bigger frame and sacrifice concealment. But the X macro closes that gap very effectively. The grip feel is different from a traditional micro-compact. SIG reshaped the grip to hold the larger magazine while keeping the grip angle, reach, and thumb position comfortable, so it doesn't feel awkward in the hand like you might expect. On top of that, there are options like a compensated version for people who want to reduce muzzle flip, and factory bundles with optics-ready slides and quality night sights, meaning the X macro isn't a fragile little carry toy. It's a properly engineered carry system. As for specs, expect a 9mm pistol with a standard capacity of 17+1. Overall slide, Dodge body thickness, usually under 1 inch, depending on configuration. A barrel length around 3.7 to 3.9 inches, depending on the version. And an overall weight that's very manageable for everyday carry. That combo gives you the advantage of carrying all day without feeling bulky. On the range, the P365X macro performs very well. Recoil impulse is relatively mild for its size. Follow-ups are quicker than older micro-compacts thanks to the grip design and balance. And many reviewers report good accuracy out to the typical concealed carry engagement ranges of 7 to 15 meters. Price matters. The P365X macro commonly shows up in the $700 to $900 United States dollar range depending on the package and market. So, it's not the cheapest option, but it's also not an unreasonable investment compared to full-size optics-ready pistols or models with integrated compensators. For that price, you get a modern carry platform ready for a red dot, with optional compensation and decent sights. Many buyers consider that a smart buy for everyday carry. Big strengths are obvious: a rare size-to-capacity ratio, ergonomics optimized for carrying a larger magazine while keeping the gun usable, and OEM options like optics-ready slides and compensators that let you buy a complete, factory-finished package. Also, the P365 ecosystem is large now. Aftermarket magazines, holsters, and optic plates are widely available, so you can customize without long waits. But nothing's perfect. Stuffing more rounds into a small frame can leave the grip a bit thick for very small hands, and some users find they need to tweak or trim holsters to get ideal concealment. Compensated models can also produce a different sound and gas signature when fired indoors, so training and ammo selection should be part of your decision. Why is it hot in 2025? The market was tired of choosing between thin but low capacity or high capacity but bulky. Modern buyers wanted a middle ground, a slim carry gun that still holds real capacity. And SIG tuned the X macro to hit that sweet spot. Plus, with optics becoming standard rather than an aftermarket ad, a factory-ready platform like the X macro becomes even more attractive. You don't need to send the gun out for work. You can set it up and go. If you're demoing it on camera, lead into it with, "This is the answer for people who want lots of rounds but don't want to carry a big gun. Here's how SIG did it." Number 1, Springfield Armory Echelon 4.5 comp. Straight up, if most of this list is about solutions for a specific problem, lighter, more capacity, optics ready, then the Echelon 4.5 comp is the full answer to the question, how do I get control, accuracy, and the ability to shoot long training sessions in a platform that basically doesn't need aftermarket work? When you pick up the Echelon 4.5 comp, the first impression is that it was designed to shoot a lot, not designed for social media. Springfield builds the Echelon on a stainless steel chassis inside a polymer frame, fits a hammer forge barrel that's 4.5 inches long and that is ported and compensated right in the slide. The gas ports are positioned so they push upward to reduce muzzle rise without smearing your sight picture. So follow-up shots come faster, and your eye holds the dot or S reticle steadier between strings. That really matters for high-volume training, or when you're trying to cut your split times in competition. The practical specs are clear. This is a 9mm ammunition pistol with an overall length of approximately 8.0 inches, an unloaded weight around 23.9 ounces, a grip width of about 1.2 inches, and most SKUs ship with a flush 17-round magazine plus a 20-round extended magazine, which means you can choose a setup for carry or one for training right out of the box. The Echelon also uses a variable interface system with interchangeable pins to let you mount a variety of micro red dots low and secure. And it comes with either a tritium U-notch sight or 3-dot sights to keep aiming usable in low light. Springfield finishes the slide with melanite or billet work for durability. The package is basically a ready-to-run platform for duty, home defense, or long training sessions without a pile of aftermarket changes. From a 2025 user perspective, the reason the Echelon 4.5 comp took off isn't just it has a compensator, a bunch of guns do. It's that Springfield bundled a full solution: a stiff internal chassis, factory low-mount optics readiness, tritium sights, 2 magazines of different capacities, and a robust slide finish. Put together, that's a pistol that leaves the factory ready for duty carry or heavy range time without needing a gunsmith. The advantages list is long. The integrated compensator reduces muzzle rise so you shoot faster and more accurately. Factory low-mounted optics readiness lets you set up a red dot quickly. The internal stainless chassis stabilizes the feel and simplifies maintenance, and the included 17 and 20 round magazines give you both carry and training options from the start. Real downsides are practical. The compensator does lengthen the pistol a bit compared with a non-comp model, which makes deep concealment harder. The upward gas and comp effect can change the sound and gas signature indoors, so you should consider that for in-house training. And compared with ultra-micro or ultra-light platforms, the Echelon's weight and size make it less ideal for everyday deep concealment. On price, Springfield positions the Echelon 4.5 comp in the mid to upper feature tier, manufacturer's suggested retail. Price commonly sits around $749 to $765 United States dollars, depending on SKU. Low-capacity models for restricted states are similarly priced or slightly lower. So you pay once and get a nearly complete platform instead of buying a base gun and then paying extra for optic plates, compensator work, or magazines. Bottom line, the Echelon 4.5 comp climbed to number 1 in a lot of Switch lists in 2025 because it doesn't sell hype. It delivers control, low optics mounting, durability, and the basic accessories in the box. Those are the real values shooters, officers, and daily carriers were looking for when they decided to change platforms. Wrapping it up, here's what you should keep in mind. 2025 isn't about shiny pistols anymore. It's about guns that solve real-world problems. Some give you more capacity in a slim frame, some bring race gun performance but are duty-ready, and others come optic-ready straight out of the box so you don't burn money on upgrades. The picks in this video aren't just trendy. They're the actual solutions that shooters, officers, and concealed carriers are relying on and trusting right now. Before you decide, my advice is this: don't buy just because of a review. Get out to the range, borrow or rent each pistol, and test them for yourself. Feel the size, the recoil, and how it runs the kind of ammo you normally use. The right gun for your hand will make your technique sharper, your confidence higher, and save you from unnecessary tinkering down the line. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like so I know, subscribe so you don't miss the detailed comparisons coming up, and drop a comment. Which pistol on this list has you most curious? I'll do my best to take it to the range and film a dedicated test. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and stay sharp.